In today's demo, in the first learning objective, we're going to learn how to transform multiple AutoCAD drawings and database information into intelligent resources. So for an accurate account of your space, I believe that CAD is essential in virtually any CAFM solution. All but the boundaries in purple have been previously linked. So I'm going to finish off linking the rest of the records very quickly using the tools within the CAD application. There we go. So once these records have been linked to the boundaries, additional information can be added or edited. Things like the room type and class, for example. Maybe the organization that's assigned to the room. Now, what condition is this room in? Documents can be attached and opened as well. Rooms can also be assigned to suites and zones. Several things can be done from the CAD application. Like, for example, I can also hatch by organization, creating thematic hatches. For learning objective 2, we're going to learn how to publish intelligent facility management data to the web. So before I can publish the drawing to the Forge server, I need to assign discipline drawings to be published. So in this case, I've previously assigned the base drawing, which is the architectural, an electrical, HVAC, a plumbing drawing, and fire protection. Once assigned as discipline drawings, I can move on to publishing to the Forge server. I'm going to select Forge Publish. And let me explain what's happening here. First of all, the entities from the boundary objects, polylines for the AutoCAD users, are transferred to a geometry field for each room record in the database. Next, all the referenced discipline drawings are combined into one AutoCAD file and then sent to the local web application server. That web application server then sends the files to the Forge server for conversion. As the files reach the Forge server, they're encrypted for client security. Lastly, the files are then converted to Forge files and sent back to the local web server to be used as graphic files in the web application using the Autodesk Forge server. Note, all of this happened in a matter of seconds, much shorter than my explanation, actually. For my last learning objective, we're going to learn how to capitalize on the power of Forge for accessing, modifying, and viewing facility management data. So in this demonstration, I'll show you how to use the Forge-based web application to view, edit, query, report, extract, and print live data linked to those previously published drawings. Many of the features in this application would not be possible, or at least not as easily accessible without the use of the tools from the Forge-based application. So let's talk about a number of daily tasks that are presented to the facility staff and how those tasks can be addressed with a Forge-based web application. In scenario 1, I'm going to talk about locating and moving an employee. So again, I'm going to use myself as an example. Select myself from the list. And as you can see, an employee form appears with information about the employee, like the employee ID, last name, first name, the location that the employee is, and some additional information like extension and email. Once this form appears, I'm able to select the location. The drawing opens and highlights the room where the employee has been placed. What if I wanted to move an employee from one room to another and then once again see the results? I'm going to switch to our data management application where I can actually edit information in the live database. Find myself in the list. As you can see, I'm placed in room 116. I'm going to move to a different room on the same floor. Let's put me in 103. Refresh my data. You can see that I'm now located in room 103. Well, let's see how that looks in the drawing viewer. Clear my previous search. Again, pick myself, and as you can see, it now highlights room 103 with the addition of the form showing my new location. Scenario number 2, I'm going to talk about creating and applying custom queries. Well, custom queries can be created on the fly and saved and recalled at a later date. So let's start with creating a simple query. In this case, we're going to apply a condition. We're going to pick conference. I could pick several and apply, but in this case, I'm just looking for the conference rooms. Created my condition, execute the query. So the results can either be exported to Excel or they can be exported to a CSV file. I can also highlight or open and highlight rooms in the graphic interface. So for example, let's say I'm looking for conference room 238A. I pick the hot link, the drawing opens, and the conference room is highlighted. As I said earlier, I can also recall queries that I've created and saved earlier. So in this case, I'm going to import a query that I've created that shows all the assets named personal computer that are in the main building. Execute my query. And again, I can find a room that I'm looking for and select the hot link. It will open up that drawing and highlight that room. In my next scenario, we're going to be talking about accessing both graphic and tabular reports using the live data. My drawing viewer, I will select a floor and a building. We'll pick main building, basement. Once my drawing appears, my legend items are available. From the various legend items available to me, I'm going to expand my room items. So currently I have the room ID turned on. Well, I'm going to look for those conference rooms. How would I do that? Well, I'm going to expand room types and I'm going to find conference. Now this, in fact, is showing me all conference rooms on this floor. So I can either select one at a time or I can select all and use my legend to sort through. I can do things like hatch by organization, showing where all of my cost centers have been assigned. Very commonly used thematic would be the occupancy. This is showing me both occupied and vacant rooms. So now I've shown you what a graphic report looks like. Now let's link that up with a tabular report. So from standard reports, I'm going to pick one that's very similar in data to the graphic report on my screen. So in this case, I'm just going to show all vacant rooms on a given floor. This can also be exported to not only a PDF file, but to an Excel spreadsheet as well. Pretty much anything that's available on your computer. In my next scenario, I'd like to talk about using the tools in the Forge viewer, things like zoom, pan, measure, and select rooms for displaying the live data. So again, for my drawing viewer, I'm going to open up a building and a floor. In this case, main building, first floor. As you can see, I can zoom, I can pan, again, using tools from the Forge viewer right out of the box, as well as measure. I can get accurate measurements, linear, in this case. I could do angles, areas. I can change the unit types for my measurement. So right now it's set to fractional feet and inches. I can do decimal feet if I wanted to. I can create a selection window by selecting several rooms. And then I can generate a report with the details about the selected rooms. Save to a PDF and print it for whatever need I have. I also have the ability to right-click on a room and get different information in terms of, well, I could generate a room report, giving me all the information that we saw earlier in the CAD application about that room, so on. I could find out what assets are in the rooms, the personal computer that we talked about earlier. I can look at the employees that have been placed in the room. In my last scenario, I'd like to talk about printing the results of the graphic displays. Again, select a drawing from my drawing viewer. Pick the second floor this time. As before, once the drawing appears on my screen, my legend items become available. We looked at the various ways to highlight the drawings. We looked at highlighting by organization, by room type. Well, now we're going to look at the different discipline drawings that we published earlier. So the default drawing is the base drawing. And again, because of the Forge-based application, I have the ability to control my layers. I can turn on my electrical drawing, HVAC. Talked about the fire protection drawing and an evacuation. Once I have my display set, I can again use the tools afforded to me with Forge to export to a PDF file. I can control things like I can change the title, I can add a subtitle, change paper sizes, orientations. I can also change the DPI. Once I've selected all my values, I can export. Again, PDF is created, which I can send to whoever has requested it, and they can print it.